who share 20 minutes.
Chairman, and firstly, I begin congratulating Minister Flanagan on his new role and wish him the very best luck in the weeks and months ahead. I welcome the opportunity to speak on the bill on the Judicial Appointments Commission Bill 2017 here tonight. While Fianna Fáil fully believes in the need for reform of judicial appointments, we also believe that this new bill published by the Government is deeply flawed. Fianna Fáil has proposed legislation establishing a Judicial Appointments Commission fully independent of the Government and that would make recommendations to the Government based on an independent assessment of merits of the applicants for the judicial office. And I'd like to compliment my colleague Jim O'Callaghan, who has put immense work into all of this. And of course he is one of the experts in this area to be talking about, like my Deputy Stephen Donnelly referred to there. You do need expertise in terms of appointments in any skill set, particularly this profession, which is so critical to our country and our nation. With the proposal of a lay majority and the downgrading of the Chief Justice position, the Government has let Shane Ross drive forward a spurious agenda which risks undermining the independence of the judiciary. The Judicial Appointments Commission Bill 2017 will change the way judges are appointed in Ireland. A new body, a Judicial Appointments Commission, will replace the Judicial Appointments Advisory Board, and serving judges who are applying to another judicial position will have to apply to the Judicial Appointments Commission. It is imperative that our judicial appointments process is reformed in order to ensure that people are appointed to judicial office based solely on merit. For that reason, Fianna Fáil's proposed legislation establishing a Judicial Appointments Commission fully independent of the Government, and that would make recommendations to Government based on independent assessments of the merits of the application for judicial office. The Commission proposed by the Government will not allow for such an independent process of assessment, and that is the most critical and poignant part of all of this. Among its faults, the bill will require the Chief Justice to sit on a commission that she will not chair. This is indicative of the disrespect of this Government has for the judiciary. This bill also excludes presidents of the circuit and district courts from full membership of the Commission. It also recommended that the majority of the Commission should be lay members, namely persons who are neither judges nor lawyers. This grouping of judges and lawyers in the same category by the Government ignores the fact that the judges are not members of the legal profession. The fact that they are previously members is not a basis to assume that judges and lawyers, if in a majority, will have a negative influence on this Commission. The bill proposes that 3 persons recommended by the Commission will not be ranked in order of merit. The failure to do so defeats the entire purpose of having a Commission that seeks to recommend the best candidate. It is regrettable that the proposals put forward by the Government are not of the purpose of achieving genuine reform, but are instead for the purpose of appeasing one member of Government whose proposal in this area is ill-considered and deeply flawed. Fianna Fáil remains committed to achieving reform in this area, as outlined in our Judicial Appointments Commission Bill published in October 2016. The weakness in the current system means that when a large list of names is presented to Cabinet, most of them do not know how to go about choosing one person from a list of 24 for a district court position. There is no reason that politicians should be aware of who is the most suitable or best candidate. It is true that people have political connections are at an advantage if their names are on the list which goes to Cabinet. Many people who are appointed because of political connections do turn out to be excellent judges. We should not have a system whereby a person is because they are involved in politics that he or she should be excluded from subsequent nomination to judicial office. We need a recommending body that can identify who it believes to be the best person for the position as judge. We should have a recommending body that ranks individuals in terms of their suitability for the job. Under the Constitution, which is appropriate, the Government has the final say. Regardless of what the system is in place or now how it operates, the Government can disregard the list of candidates provided by the Judicial Appointments Advisory Board and appoint a candidate of its choosing. This is the system that currently operates under the Constitution. However, we believe it needs to be changed and broadened in order to ensure a fair and that the best people have an opportunity to be considered for appointment. The Fianna Fáil Bill establishes a Judicial Appointments Commission to recommend to the Government the names of individuals who it believes would be the most suitable based on merit to be judges. For each position, it will recommend 3 people. The Government scheme has the same provision. Under our bill, however, they will be ranked in order of 1, 2 and 3. In no way does that offend the constitutional prerogative that rests with the Cabinet. Under neither scheme must the Cabinet opt for anyone on the list. However, there is a benefit to the Cabinet being told by a body that has the expertise that it believes that these are the 3 best people of a certain order. And I have to say, Minister, I come from a different background, professional background altogether in education. And I have to say, in any interview panels that I ever sat on or was party to, there was always the expertise on the panel. And I think that particular format has to be followed through if we're really serious about getting the best people in such critical positions. You would not put people who have no expertise, no experience and nothing to contribute on a panel that was interviewing teachers for a position as a teacher, as a vice principal, as a principal. Needless to say, you should not do the same thing when it comes to judges. There is a further important part of the Fianna Fáil Bill that differs from the Government. We set out specific criteria if people are to be appointed as judges. It is important that the public be appraised of the qualities one needs to be appointed. This provision is not found in the Government scheme. It is important that we set out in our legislation matters that may seem obvious. One needs integrity, independence of moral courage, a high level of intellectual skill, sound temperament, common sense, impartiality, objectiveness, fairness, composure and many other qualities such as those set out. The greatest judge, of course, in the world will not have all of these that we are aspiring to appoint to the judiciary. It is useful for the public to have aspirations, though, as to know what is required. A further way in which Fianna Fáil's bill relative concerns the membership of the Commission. The body of people most qualified to make recommendations are judges themselves and others who have experience. Under our bill, there are 12 members on the Commission. These include the Chief Justice, who is President of the Supreme Court, the Presidents of the Court of Appeal, the High Court, Circuit Court and the District Court. They would be judicial members. Interestingly, the Government has opted hook, line and sinker for the language of the Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sports, Shane Ross, which is all about the lay people and the non-lay people. And it is offensive to the judges and the non-lay people under the Government scheme are described as being judges and lawyers. Judges are not practising lawyers. They are lawyers formally. The membership of the Commission proposed and advocated by Fianna Fáil are persons who have the best interests of the Irish people at heart when it comes to identifying individuals who would make good judges. It is farcical to suggest that judges, such as presidents of the court, will want to select for recommendation people who are their friends. They will want to ensure that the people who are chosen are effective. The Association of Judges of Ireland issued a statement to express their concerns at a number of measures contained in the Judicial Appointments Commission Bill. The judiciary is not opposed to the introduction of the changes in the system of the appointments to the bench. However, it believes the proposals going before the Oireachtas are seriously flawed, as we do too in Fianna Fáil. These concerns need to be listened to. Reform of how judges are appointed will have very significant consequences for this country and will have long and lasting impact for the current government, long after it's gone. Unfortunately, this bill is misguided and very poorly constructed. Fianna Fáil remains committed to achieving reform in this area, as outlined in our Judicial Appointments Commission Bill. And again, I'd have to compliment our own spokesperson, Deputy Jim O'Callaghan, who has put immense work into this, and we should be listening to his kind of expertise, who comes from that background and knows exactly what he's talking about. Thank you.
We will call on you to adjourn.